Welcome to another episode of Family Matters. Now, a family is the basic unit of society. It is from here that we nurture members who will form a part of our society. Now, how we raise them up and what advice we give to them will determine how integrated they will be in our society. Today in Family Matters, we are about to explore this topic in depth. How best is it for us to raise our children, and what styles are best for us to raise our children, and what pitfalls to avoid when raising up our children.
Parenting is what we call socialization. In other words, teaching the child the ways of society, teaching a child what is expected of him or her as a member of society, and also what he or she can in return expect from society. It bringing up people so they can fit into society, they can be acceptable members of their society. That is what we mean by parenting.
Parenting style nowadays is completely out. It's completely out because most of the parents have left their children either to maids or to the people they don't even trust, or they don't know even their background. So the question of parenting nowadays is completely out. It's completely out. You can't get it.
There are some parents which the children have time together with the father, then the mother is in the working, you understand? So you can find other people which you can find also the father is always outside, and the children remain with the children, the mother, even the how can I say, the maid raising children, but it's not so bad. But what I think, parents should take the responsibility of the education of the children. Yeah, either the father or the mother.
Well, we like our parents to know that, especially today. When we were growing up, life was simple. You did what you were told to do. But today's children will ask why. Okay, and they are more exposed. They even know their rights. So you have to treat them differently from the way we were treated when we grew up. Things are changing.
Okay. Parenting, I would say, is not a very easy job because parents have a responsibility to bring out responsible children who have self-control and who have the right social skills to be able to survive in the society. And that's why we came up with the Nairobi Parenting Clinic, where we can give parents and guardians such skills so that we get responsible children, we get children who can fit in the society, and we also have children who are God-fearing. It's challenging because, for one, you learn it through experience. Before, there were no places where you could actually go and learn. So nobody trains you, unlike careers where you go for training and you learn how to do your work. So this is a job you are given. It's a full-time job and there is no training in it. So it becomes very challenging. And again, parents are becoming increasingly busy. The society has broken down to the extent that it's not like the old days where you would leave your children with your neighbor or with your relative to take care of them, because everybody is busy. So you find that as the stressors increase in people's lives, parenting becomes even more challenging.
Meet Monica Njoki, a resident of Kawangware, 29 years and a mother of 4. And she's not just a mother but also a single parent burdened with the task of parenting 4 children despite not having a stable income.
Kwa majina naitwa Monica Njoki. Nina miaka 29 na na watoto 4. Wa kwanza ni Ian Jenga, ako na miaka 10. Wa pili ni Beatrice Wamboi, ako na miaka 9. Wa tatu ni Audrey Wanjiko, ako na miaka 2.5. Wa 4 ni Tatiana, kako na miezi 4. Na muenjoy sana venye muka na watu wangu na venye mu haswa ndio apate kitu ya kukula. Ian usoma na kusoma kwake, yani akuagi serious hivyo sana na masomo, ka venye huaga serious na board.
Talent is nurtured at a young age. For Ian, his talent is soccer and he aspires to make it big in football in the future. But his mother does not see it in the same way. Ian's passion for football is a source of constant conflict between him and his mother.
Ian ni kitu ngumu sana. Saa zingine unakutana ingia kwa nyumba saa 2, saa 3. Saa nikimuuliza na nipeleka hivi na msamehea. Siku ya 3 nachukua kiboko na mpiga. At least ndio change. Abadiliki, sasa imebaki ni ile design sasa naongea naye na mdomo.
I think we can always try to look for options of how to discipline kids. I've seen very many other options work out. I don't necessarily have to be beating you and call that a form of discipline. I can choose to deny you what you like, but not food.
I have beaten her, but I have seen she's getting used to it, so I've changed the method. Talking to her and telling her this is wrong, this is why I'm doing this. Now because of that, because you're bad, stick at a corner, don't speak to anyone. And that gets her to apologize. Nowadays, I guess there are other methods of using, like for me, what I do, because when she becomes big-headed and spanking is not the only solution, I put her at a corner. I tell her to keep quiet and sit down. And until she apologizes. And it works.
Kupiga mtoto sio kumchapa, kupiga mtoto ni kumfundisha. Kuna kumchapa si hujamsaidia. Kumchapa utamuumiza. Pengine utapiga mtoto kichwa, kesho atakuwa na ugonjwa. Kumpiga ni kumfundisha, awe na tabia njema.
Caning also helps, but also when you see, as parents, we forget also our past. If I could not change through the cane of my parents, they try to correct me, to beat me, especially my father. He tries to put me to toilet, to change. But that time I became more stubborn. Then also I don't expect if I train my child, the same thing, could work. Because even to me it could not work. You know, there's this book of Proverbs. It talks about caning a child, correcting a child, using a rod. If you spare, you'll spoil your child. But also this is a proverb. It maybe goes deeper. It has wind. In fact, this question is, it has many views. And so it has even wind. So to answer it, in my view, and also biblical, you can use, say, for example, now we are living the last days. And also the same Bible. If we follow now, we are following the Bible to cane our children so that we may correct them. The same Bible promises or prophesies that in the last days there will be difficulties times for generation will come disobedience to their parents. And also I can feel I'm among them. I was stubborn to my parents. When I came to an age and saw the Bible, that time I changed myself. And also when I changed, I could see I was changed because of the word of God.
Muongelesha. Juu saa zingine tukitupata tukipiga story, yani namfunza yani kulingana na age yenye yako.
Jenga si mbaya, lakini jenga napenda mpira sana kuliko shule. Kwa sababu napenda mpira sana, sijui ni nini. Hata alikuwa anataka akuache shule aende mpira. Akabio. Aende shule tu asome, hata kicheza mpira akuwa nasoma.
Mimi ndio coach wa Ian ambaye anacheza under 10 na under 12. Na Ian ni kijana anajua kucheza ball, ako talented. Zaidi hiyo pia kuna vile yeye ndio kuna saa anasikia na kuna saa pia inabidi tunampanish na mambo ya press ups na pia kupiga laps. So Ian ni kijana pia anasikia na pia saa zingine asikii, lakini si jaribu at least kumguide at least asikie.
Ian ni mwana wendete mubira muno makiria. Itondu na nyina ni maanda kuhitania nake ni undu wa mubira ucio. Na riu nake uma mubira ucio ri. Okuma mubira ini ni ukagwo tuku. Loko tuko tukamuria kari kiu gicereirwo guo koiga mwana kandidi ni indo egucokagia kiria ni indo egucokagia wabici kuria makirutaga egucokagia kuria nyumba-ini. Riu nake nyina akoiga ni ekumuhura ngamwira ndakamuhure tondu tutiramenya kana araria ma kana araria maheni no ningi ni mehia mwana guka kuri utuku tondu mwana angituika ni gukinya nyumba ta thaa 2 uguo ti wega uguo ni uru.
Ian niseme kulingana vile anacheza ball saina miaka yake anaweza enda far sana akaweza kuwa na discipline ambayo tunajaribu kumuinstill na pia tunajaribu kusaidiana na mzazi wake. Ndio kuna saa huenda home late, pengine hata mimi ndio nimeweka kama tumetoka game farm. Pia hapo si communicate na madhe yake, tunamwambia tutachelewa.
Na wale Yanga. Sasa ananiambia so nimechelewa kwa kusikadiri. Na muuliza kusikadiri ni nani?
The time unajua pia mavijana wanakuwa wako tricky. Pengine anaenda round zake na mabeste wake alafu anasema ameenda home, ambayo sio ile kitu iko. So tunajaribu pia communicate, kwa in constant communication na mzazi wake. Anajua vile tunaendelea na kama tunaenda game ama kitu kama hiyo.
Yeye unajua mimi pangu venye mujijua muaga yani na machungu mbaya sana. Yani sijui machungu toka pia ni unajua mzazi ustukia tu yani kikitu kimekuingia yani unaona umtoi. Yani naweza stukia, naweza pata kitu yani hata mbaya na naweza gonga hata nayo. Sasa na avoid yani kuchukua hizo vitu, naona hata nichukue mwiko nimtandike nayo viboko kadhaa ndio asikie. Zengu umetoka wapi sasa? Nilikwambia aje maneno kuingia kwa nyumba usiku. Na sasa ni saa ngapi umekuja kwa nyumba? Nataka nikupike. Si nilikwambiaga yani maneno kuingia nyumba usiku staki na bado umerudia the same thing. Kaka. Maneno kukuja kwa nyumba usiku staki. Namwambia lale, namwambia nakuchapa viboko 10. Na ukimiss ama ukiweka mkono nitaongezea zifike 20. No simpigagi hata hizo 20 ama 10. Mumpiga viboko 5 to 6. Anambia mam sitarudia, pole mam. Anambia no kirudia siku nyingine uniue mam. Anambia sawa. Umesikia umeniambia nikuue. Kwa hivyo siku nyingine ukirudia ndakuua.
Caning cannot be a solution. Caning makes the children again becomes wild because they don't come from proper background. If they don't come from a proper background and you cane them, you make them become more hostile.
The beating should not be severe and the beating should not be a daily sort of thing. Maybe because when you beat them daily, it is like they become immune. Yeah.
Children can get used to punishment. And once you get there now, okay, he or she is ready for it. Now you will get to a point where you will plead with him or her, please, let's sit down and have a talk. At that point, they say, forget it, it's too late. Once they get used to it, now what do you do? So that they get to a point where they even act like they miss it. So it is not a good way, especially in today's society. And there may come a time when punishment is the only thing, but make sure that you have tried everything else, so that it is the only thing that you haven't tried. And if you have to do it, talk to the child before you do it, to let the child know that you are not doing it because you like doing it, but your circumstances are forcing you to do it. Talk to the child. Don't control your anger as you punish. Don't show a lot of anger when you are punishing. And also make sure that you punish immediately after bad behavior, so that there is connection between bad behavior and punishment. But that is only if everything else has failed.
When the whip is used on children, there's something I want adults to really think carefully and assess carefully. Why do I feel that I have to whip my child or I have to beat a child for the child to understand what's happening? If you sit down with yourself and ask yourself that question honestly, it is your own frustrations that are making you do that. Unfortunately, this is one thing that happens in most of the homes. I've come out from work, I am tired and irritable, then a child decides to, or a child by mistake spills some milk, which I really worked hard to put that meal on that table. Then this child has just poured it. One, your conscience goes out the window. You do not remember that it was a mistake. The child did not pour it intentionally. Two, that you have your own anger issues that you need to deal with. If you decide to tackle, when I say tackle is beat the child, you will beat them in a manner that is not justifiable. You will beat them to try and project your own frustrations, and you'll be beating them like a grown-up. This is devastating and this is traumatizing for the child.
Kitu yenye yeye ni ufanya bedwe yeye anaga tabia mbaya. Kitu yenye ufanya mbaya uniudhi nika hiyo, yani kuja usiku kuingia kwa nyumba saa 2 ama saa 3. Sasa hiyo ndio kosa yani kubwa yenye ufanya. Makosa yenye nilifanyaga mbaya, kuna siku Ian alinikoseaga. Na Ian kunikosea nika feel pain, yani nikaona huyu siwezi mpiga hata na mkono yangu. Nikachukua kisu nikaweka kwa moto kwa stove, nikamchoma na kisu. Yani hiyo ndio kosa yani yenye nilifanyaga mbaya, nika regret mpaka the following day nikamwambia pole, sitairudia tena. By the way, kwa mzazi mwingine kama mimi siwezi taka yani mtu kuadhibu mtoto na jambo kama hilo.
I would caution adults, as much as some of you don't want to hear this, that sometimes we do vent out on children, that sometimes we say that a child is justified to be beaten. In fact, what we say is, huyu anisikiangi, this one never hears me. That's why you have to be very harsh on this child. But you know what? In real sense, it's you as an adult who has a problem. Because when you say that this child doesn't hear you, you're looking at this child with the mindset of a grown-up. How old is this child? There are many incidences of children who are being beaten, maybe because they're not performing well in school, they're not getting it, their grades are low. By beating, you're not helping this child. If anything, what you're doing to this child is creating a hate for education. Another thing, you don't know the reason as to why your child is not performing well. Are they being molested at school? Are they undergoing some emotional issue that you're not aware? Or do they even have a reading disability? So when you say that your child warrants being beaten, I would question that deeply, that you question yourself as to why you feel beating a child is the only way a child will hear. I stand corrected. However, my opinion is when you beat a child, what you're doing is instilling fear as opposed to discipline.
I have said many times and talked to many groups, punishment is not good. It may be easier than dialogue because you do it and get it over with, but it's not as good as dialogue. As far as a child is old enough to listen and to reason, it's better to talk to a child. When a child is a baby who cannot reason or think, too young to reason, now spanking is okay. Like a baby is playing with fire. He doesn't know that is dangerous, and he can't understand if you try to tell him. So spanking at that age is okay. But when someone is old enough to reason and to listen, it's better to talk, because punishment has a lot of disadvantages. Number one, it will make a child devise ways of avoiding getting caught instead of changing. It leads to rebelliousness. Children will become rebellious because of resentment. Or you may even destroy the child in the process. The child, feels rejected and hopeless. So you may correct one behavior, but must destroy the child. And therefore, the question is now, what's the use of correcting one behavior if you destroy the whole child?
Nitupita Nyoike, mimi Uncle Ian. Ian ni mtu wa sister yangu. Yeye anasoma sasa yako au class 3 na anacheza ball mainstream. Mtu apenda ball sana. To a point that ombeagwa afungua na hepa. Hiyo ndio the main problem yenye anakuwa nayo na mzazi wake. Lakini yeye si ati ni kichwa ngumu. Ni vile apenda kukaa huko hivyo nje sana. Si most of the time wezi mpata huko viko ploti. Kujaga jioni tuseme. Hata anazengia home saa 1:30 shangae kwa mtu ametoka kazi. Lakini kwa tu boots na short nikachafu. Beating lazima kwa mamake saa zingine juu tuseme aliambiwa osha vyombo aushe nguo kuosha. Aushe uniform kuosha. Sometimes inakuwa hard. Cope up na mtu huyo alafu afuate chenye tunamshow mother anataka kumwonyesha nje nyingine mtu huyu kumbe naye ako na path yake anaona.
Rafiki yangu ni Ian Jenga, tunaendanga naye mpira. Sasa mimi niko na muziki naweza anza kuimba. Niko on the stand nagoje mpenzi wangu akuje nipe namba na sitaki zaidi. Sitaki za viatu ninataka original. Zile za simu kwamba Messi wazimu. Nakumbuka wakati ulikuwa unasumbuka. Ulisema wewe ni wataka dinga. Nakuletea dinga waanza ujinga.
Discipline may nurture resentment in a child or it may amend the child's crooked ways. So what then is the best way to discipline a child?
Kulingana na sahi si mzuri sana. Juu mtoto inafaa uzungumuze na yeye. Unajua siku hizi ukizungumuza na mtu anaelewa. Unajua kuna uoga. Wazazi wengine wanakuwa wakali sana kwa watoto. Paka inashinda mtoto hawezi kumweleza shida yake. Mtoto anakaa na uoga, hata kitu inafaa fanya hawezi fanya juu sasa ako na uoga. Inatakikana ukiona shida kwa mtoto, kalisa yeye chini, usimcommand. Kalisa yeye chini, uzungumuze na yeye. Kama kuna shida anafanya makosa, mwambie hii ni makosa, haifai. Na hii kitu itakudhuru kesho. Atasikiza, lakini ukimchapa bado utamsaidia. Bado utafanya awe muoga, na ndio unaona the most of street children inatoka kutokana na wale wamekuwa wamepigwa mpaka sasa anatoka katika nyumbani na anakuwa sasa mtu ambaye hawezi kaa na community na anapatia government burden juu sasa atakuwa street children na atatembea na atakuwa sio mzuri.
The best way is first of all to love them, and when you love your children then you can be able now to look for other children outside. But the first of all is to love them and to help them, to educate them, and to assist them even by making the homework together with the children.
I've got several children, but none of them have been caned by me. But they have even by the mother, but they have never done any mistake because we are always together. We have never employed a maid. We only parent them by ourselves.
Unajua za zingine inabidi umtadike. Lakini si ati unatadika yeye. Yani unatadika mtoto sana. Yani kuchapa mtoto tu pole kidogo. Alafu baadaye unaongea na yeye.
Akishafanya kosa haistahili umchape sana. Mchape tu, lakini baada ya kumchapa utamwambia kwamba nimekuchapa juu ya vile umefanya makosa hapa na pale, na atalingana kulingana na utamaduni. Utaona kama atafuata ndio ile asikoze tena. Lakini kula kumchapa kwa kumuumiza, maybe unajua anaweza kuwa na madhara au pengine anaweza kumchapa collapse. So kumchapa seriously si vizuri.
We should not preach water and drink wine as parents. If you are going to tell your child don't steal, you need to actually show it by example. And not even stealing, let's go to the simple things like lying. You tell your child, I don't expect you to lie. And then when a neighbor comes and unambia mtoto, mwambie siko. That's a lie. You need to teach them by them seeing it, you do it physically, perform it so that it becomes an imprint in their spirit.
I feel parents have neglected their duties. If they